A white Turbo Civic is trailered to a street race, and as it approaches on the right there, you can see there's a red 10th anniversary Terminator Cobra. And as they come by, you can see the car sitting there with the taillights on, idling, getting ready to race. Here he is turning around, lining up for the race. This is one of the coolest videos that I've ever seen on YouTube. It's one of my favorites. I catch myself watching it over and over and over again. And I'll put a link to this video in the description so you can hear the sounds of the car, the music they put to it, all of the very good videography that they did with this video. But it's a red 10th anniversary Cobra, and he's racing this Turbo Civic. On this part, he spins and he gets a terrible start. The Civic beats him. And so they go line him up again, and this time he's heating up the tires real good. He's doing a big, long, smoky burnout there, and getting ready for the race. And you could just see this cloud of smoke engulf this Cobra as he's getting ready. So here they launch again. He gets a better start, but he still just can't quite edge out the Civic. At this time, this Cobra is a ported Eaton car with a smaller pulley on the supercharger. So you might be wondering, why do I think this is one of the coolest videos out if the Cobra loses? Well, the Cobra didn't lose by much to begin with. It's a gutted out Civic with a big turbo. You know, it's basically a bullet bike with a frame on it. A turbo bike with a frame on it, the way I look at it. But this is a full interior, red seats, 10th anniversary Terminator Cobra, and it is a very fast car for what it is. Now, of course, I would have loved to see the Cobra win this race, but it didn't. And that's okay. You know, it's all about street racing. It's all about having fun. In the rest of the video, these two teams of racers get pretty heated, and there's a lot of trash talk, and that's to be expected. But for me, watching this video made me really want a red Cobra. I already had my Competition Orange 2004 Terminator Cobra and my other Mustangs that I have, but I always wanted a red one, and every time I watch this video, it just made me want one even more. You can see when he's doing his burnout, you can tell there's red seats in there, and it's a 10th anniversary car. And so you might be wondering, what's the rest of the story about this car? And that's what I was wondering too. So I had looked around after watching this video a few times, and I found the car on Instagram. And so the owner of this car on Instagram is lethal_svt_bird. And we'll get to the rest of his name for a minute, but this is one of the pictures he had posted, and he said when the motor decided to give out. It's still a good time though, is what he's saying, and I don't know if that's when the engine broke on this car. It turns out you'll find out that this car has been through a lot of racing, a lot of different things, couple engines and stuff, but I had commented on this post, and you can see right here my comment. I love that vid on YouTube. I watched it countless times. Although the outcome sucked, it was a good vid. The car looked good. Well done too. So there, that's my comment, and a lot of people have asked me what's my Instagram. I do have an Instagram. It's justin.c_svt. Currently around 10,000 followers. But anyway, this was what the car looked like when he bought it. It looked pretty stock with FR 500 style wheels on it. You can see the red 10th anniversary brakes in there, and the seats, of course. But very nice looking car, torch red. This was like 11 or 12 years ago that he got this car. And here it is again with a friend. It looks like somebody had a white convertible Terminator as well. He did post a picture of his window sticker on his Instagram, asking if anybody else still had theirs, just to show how special the car was. And if you look in this corner, you can see there's the description, and it shows, you know, 2003 SVT Cobra, coupe, all that, torch red clear coat. And down in the white, it shows order code 325A. That would be the 10th anniversary package. And right underneath that, it shows the 17-inch 10th anniversary wheels. So really cool to see that it is a 10th anniversary car. Something interesting to note here too is if you look in the top right there where it says torch red clear coat, it says interior dark charcoal leather graphite. It has the interior colors of a standard car, not the red. Colorado red seats is what they're called for the 10th anniversary. What's interesting is all of the 10th anniversary Cobras window stickers say that. They all say that they came with the graphite. Although if you go down where it said the order code 325A, that would trump the above statement on the sticker. So that's something really interesting to look for, and that is a 10th anniversary thing. And something really cool there is the car was shipped originally to California, because you can see there it says California Emission Systems, no charge. And my red 10th anniversary is also a California car shipped there brand new. So I'm curious to how close those two cars were being built and being sent to California, and whether they were near each other in California as well on the dealership lot and everything. Even though mine was a no dealer prep order car. I just wonder how close the dealers were to each other. But anyway, that's just something fun to think about. Now, I went and checked my VIN number on my red 10th anniversary car, and I'm not sure if it works out this way, but according to those last sequential numbers, the 442785, my red 10th is only 292 units before that. So I don't know how many Cobras, V6s, GTs, Mach 1s were in front of, or between there, but it's only off by 292 units if that's the case. And here we can see the glorious engine bay of a Terminator Cobra. There's the ported Eaton supercharger. I believe it was ported. It might not have been a ported one, but I know it's at least pulleyed. In the video, I think they said it was a ported car. And it looks like a JLT style cold air intake and the idler pulleys and everything. But pretty basic setup, and this is what a lot of people were running with their Cobras. And it was a lot of power. 450 or so to the wheels is usually what these put down with these modifications. And then later it looked like he went to some saline wheels and a 2.3 liter Whipple supercharger. So going up a little bit in power there. Really awesome car. Here's some gas station pics and just some really nice pictures of the car. He later go to these XXR wheels. These are pretty common on the Cobras. A lot of guys run them. I think they look good. They have a deep lip on the back, and I'm more of an original Terminator wheel guy, whether it's the stock 5-spokes or the 10th anniversary wheels on this particular car. But those are the wheels that he had on the car most of the time, and I think they look pretty good. And you can see he added those rookie stripes on the fenders. I'm not really a fan of those. He did the blackout between the taillights. It looked like a plasti dip or maybe a vinyl wrap job on there. Looks alright, you know, not really my style. And something else that he changed that you can see in the video if you pay attention is that he put bullet side scoops on there. So those are bullet 01 side scoops. They look like a V6 side scoop, but there is no honeycomb in them. They are a flush shaved piece, and that's the way they were made for the bullet. So those are bullet side scoops that have been painted torch red. He had different wheel setups over the years. These are the weld wheels. I think they look really good on the car. Kind of brings the shine back out of the car. And that's kind of a racer look with the welds on the back and street tires on the front. You see a lot of cars at the racetrack like that. Here's another setup that he had, 16-inch wheels that were off a Mustang. These came on the V6 and the GT in the 90s, and he painted them black and had the ET street tires on there. Looked pretty good. It's a good way to get power to the ground with something affordable. So the engine got destroyed, and he got rid of the blower, and the interesting thing is what he did next for the car that would actually make it quite different than other Cobras. He decided to change things up, and he went with Procharger F1. These are a cog style belt driven high boost supercharger, and they do good for drag racing. From everything I've seen, like when Bama Tuning did one on their Terminator, it kind of hurt the drivability of the car. For me, I like the Terminator to have the Roots or twin screw style supercharger on there. I like positive displacement superchargers. Instant torque right off, no spooling, it's lots of power, and it's right at your foot. And maybe this is a more powerful option that he had here, but I love the whine of the supercharger. I think that makes the Terminator what it is. But what's funny is he started going around, joking around, calling it a 99 Cobra from now on, because you have to change the intake manifold. There's usually a lot involved with running a 99 to 01 Cobra intake manifold or a Mach 1 intake manifold. I'm pretty sure you even have to change the timing cover and a whole lot of things. So it's a pretty involved process to change it back and forth. And there have been a few people who did that. And I know he went to a return style fuel system. He had some nitrous on the car, and he's gone through a few clutches. So you can see that he does a lot of work on his own car, and he's really good at it. And I think that's good to see somebody out there working on their car. I've done a whole lot of that. I've built my cars and raced them and broken them and fixed them and all sorts of stuff. But a lot of the story of this car is that it was in California, kind of the Stockton area. There's a lot of street racing there. And then eventually he had to make his way to Las Vegas. I think it was for a job change or something. And that's when I was able to get closer to the car. I'm a couple hours from Vegas. I go down to the racetrack. When he got to Vegas, he met up with some other Terminator owners, this Sonic Blue convertible and this Competition Orange here in the middle there. Those are both people that I've met and talked to down at Vegas and racing, and we've been kind of back and forth on Competition Orange Facebook page and all sorts of stuff like that. So these pictures of Vegas are very iconic with the wheel there. A lot of people go there to take pictures. I've gone there and taken pictures with my friend and his '06 GT when we went down there together once. And I watched as he would get into the car culture there in Vegas. Here's some cool pictures with the drag radials on the back, and here's a picture at a meetup there in Vegas. So it was cool because I was close to Vegas and I recognized the car. So I was like, oh yeah, there's Vegas in the background. You know, I've been to that spot there, and I've been to quite a few of these places. It stayed an IRS car, even though solid axle is the way to go with drag racing. It's still street car, he says, and he likes it that way. I know a lot of people that still drag race with the IRS, but I like it better. I like the look of the exhaust and everything. So, really nice car. Here's the 10th anniversary steering wheel, just for a couple pictures of the car on it. He had this little thing on the window that said "Racer on Board," you know, for a little kid, you know. And a lot of the story is when the car breaks, it would have to sit for a while because he did have a family, he had a little kid, and you got to do stuff to take care of the family, and sometimes the race car takes the back seat. So it's not always just going out racing and having fun for a lot of people. You got to be responsible too, and that's eventually what ended up with the car happening. Was it got broken racing again, and the engine just went. I was going to go down to the races this night, but it just didn't turn out to be a good night for me to go, and I wish I would have gone because he was racing here, and this is when he destroyed the engine. You can hear that Procharger screaming. Next thing you know, he's posting up this picture of the car, and it's in the garage, and it's all torn apart, and the hood's off of it, and the engine's over there on the side. And he actually had quite an unfortunate turn of events where he would put an engine in, get it all back together. He'd get some new heads from somebody that said that they were good, and all of a sudden he'd get it all ready to go, starts running, and it has a tapping noise on top, and turns out the heads were bad, so he had to go get a whole nother set of heads for it, and it was just a lot of problems. It was really unfortunate that it kept breaking like this. And so here's some pictures of the car at the racetrack that night. I really love seeing these because that's the track that I always go to. I feel like that's my track, and I walk right there all the time, so it's real fun to be that close to this car in that regard. Like I said, I really wish I could have been there that night and seen the car in person. It's really unfortunate that the engine went that night. But anyway, the car ended up sitting for a long time after this, and a lot of times I wondered if he still owned the car because he would post some things about it, and people would say part out or sell it yet or whatever. And the real truth was I don't think he'll ever sell the car because he loves it a lot. And here are some pictures of it in the snow down there. But eventually he did get the car running again. And the other part of his name that we were talking about is this black Trans Am. That's Lethal Bird. So he has a couple cars that he races and does stuff with. But here's the new setup, same F1 with black valve covers and kind of gold stuff painted in there. It looks pretty good, and he was able to get this up and running. He did mention that he would like to go back to a twin screw supercharger setup, a positive displacement. And I haven't really seen anything more of the car since, but I really think a lot of 10th anniversary Cobras get raced like crazy. I've seen so many red ones for sale that have just been total race cars like this. I have other stories coming up about another one that means a lot to me. But anyway, this is a really cool Cobra. It's really fun to watch these cars on YouTube, and even more fun when you find out who owns them, and then you can get more pictures of it and more history, and you start figuring out what's been done with the car. And you know, I just really liked watching this car on YouTube, and it made me really excited to get my own 10th anniversary car, which I do have now, and I'm happy to have mine, and it's all pristine and nice. And this car has lived kind of a hard life, but it's loved by the owner, and we'll only see what happens next with it. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story about this Torch Red 10th Anniversary '03 Cobra. I really like the car a lot, as I said, and I think it's real fun to see these cars. I know I even considered buying this car from him at one point, and so it's real fun to see how it's all worked out and how I got my own too. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already on here with us. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. It'll help recommend it for other people. And thanks for watching.